Hi everybody. Happy New Year. You will notice I sound a little, because I have a cold, and yeah, I have a cold. I went to visit my parents last week. Oh, so wonderful. I love my mom and dad so much. I mean, my God, I loved my parents. And we all got a head cold. We all got sick. and so I was off on Monday for Christmas on the 26th, and then I was sick, but I had to kind of work and be sick all week. And so anyway, but I got to be with my parents and watch movies and take naps and be in our pajamas, and I love just being with my mom and dad. I love being with my mom and dad so much. I'm out of lemon juice and I'm out of cough drops. So this is my emergency and my peach tea that I got from my mom. So good. But I'm out of my lemon juice and my cough drops. I'll be getting that today. Whatever. Still good. So anyways, I have a cold. And the verse today, before I sing it, I'm going to do a little song. It's not going to sound amazing because I'm sick, but doesn't matter. Excuse me. No temptation has overtaken you, but such as is common to man. And God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. But with the temptation, He will provide a way of escape also, that you may be able to endure it. That you may be able to endure it. Now, you're welcome. All right. So listen, you're gonna hear the verse today, James 1:2. It's not gonna seem like a New Year's-y kind of verse, but it's good. And I think that it is a New Year's-y kind of verse. It's the next one in the Gratitude Chronicles, so we're gonna do it. I mean, until I finish them all up. Now, James is kind of at the end of the New Testament, so like, if you go to Revelation and back up a few books, right before 1st and 2nd Peter is James. And James 2, the whole first chapter, it is just really good. I'm going to read you the verse and give you a synopsis. All right. James 1:2. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials. That's the verse. I know that everybody starts the new year out with, I've got my resolutions and I'm going to, and yeah, this is the year for me and no one's going to get in my way. And so, listen, when I have a cold, which I don't get sick very often, I don't really have a filter, and so typically I really try to have like my cotton candy godly I love you filter on, and that's all true. I do all those things, but when I'm sick, it's less of that. And so I'm just gonna it's gonna seem a little spicy today. I think it's possible. It's okay, doesn't matter. Everybody starts the new year out with like resolutions. Now, if you know me, I don't make them. I don't make resolutions. Now, I know you're probably thinking, why? Because I don't want to make resolutions and set myself up for failure or something, because it's not that I'm not self-disciplined. It's that nobody is perfect, and I go through my process and I want something to stick. I want to do it and I learn from mistakes. And if I set a resolution, instantly I'm going to do the opposite of that resolution. Because if you tell me, Holly, If you tell me I have to do something, I don't want to do it because you've told me that I have to. Listen, I know who I am. I know myself. And if I set resolutions, I'm instantly going to break them. I don't like that. I don't like the control that that has over me. So I don't do it. I have goals I want to accomplish and I have things I want to do. And that is different than saying I have some sort of resolution. Anyway, so whatever. So I don't do it. So this verse about trials, starting the new year out, might seem like maybe, it's not a good thing or something. But I want to preface that James 1 is actually really very good. James 1 says, it starts out by saying that consider it joy when you go through trials, because those trials produce, a testing of your faith, and that testing of your faith produces endurance. And the endurance that you go through results in the perfecting and completing, the journey and the process that God has for you. He completes that in you. And it's because trials help us go through things that strengthen us, right? And that is icky. Nobody likes trials, But I am grateful for the good that God has brought out of my trials. Really, really grateful. And so the next thing that it talks about is that after it says to consider it joy when you go through those things, it specifies the difference between God allowing trials in your life and temptation. And God will allow trials in your life to strengthen you, but God does not tempt you. Temptation that you have is from your flesh. There is a difference between God allowing trials in your life and your flesh tempting you. They're not the same. God doesn't do that. Let's see, what else does it say? By the way, being tempted is not a sin. Caving to that temptation is the sin. So the temptation of the flesh leads to sin, and sin leads to death, which is why Jesus died on the cross, to conquer sin and death so that we could be covered. Moving on. And then the next part of what it says is that God does, however, he doesn't tempt you, but it says that God does give, all good and perfect gifts are from God, from the Father of lights, from God above. Now it's interesting because it says, it's talking about trials, and then it says all good gifts are from God, which means that when God allows you to go through trials, it's good. The thing is that it says in Romans 8:28 that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purposes. Which means that when God allows us to go through trials, he is producing an endurance and a perfecting of our faith, which is going to result in good things, right? That's the circle. Let's see what the next thing is. Okay, and then this is the part I want to talk to you about. The last part of chapter 1 talks about being a doer and a hearer. And it says, don't be just a hearer of the word, and not bridle your tongue and just it's like looking at your face in the mirror and going away and forgetting what you look like, right? But be a doer of the word, because if you hear the word of God and it's actually affected your heart, it should compel you to be a doer of what you are reading, not just a hearer that you walk away and it says your religion is worthless. If you are a hearer of the word and you don't act accordingly and you don't act on it, then your religion means nothing, right? That's what it says. And it says this is what it looks like to be a doer. A doer of the word is quick to hear, like to sit and listen to what you're saying. I'm quick to listen to you. And I'm not just on my phone scrolling and doing whatever willy-nilly. I am physically showing you that I'm listening to you. I cannot stand it when someone is listening to me, but they're not really listening to me. They're sitting on their phone and they're doing whatever. And they're like, yeah, no, I'm listening. No, you're not. You're doing what you're doing and you're just pretending to listen to me. That's not the same thing. It's not respectful and it's crappy. Don't do it to people. Be quick to listen and to hear, slow to speak. Don't just be listening to me or listening to other people, but thinking about everything that you want to say as soon as I'm done speaking. That's not really listening. You're just waiting to speak back. I also don't like that. Don't one-up people. Don't be all self-centered. Listen to people. Listen to what they're talking about. Empathize with them. Hear them. Okay. Be slow to anger. Bridle your tongue, right? Don't just speak gossip and speak lies and be short-tempered and be ugly with people. Bridle your tongue. Visit orphans and widows in their distress and keep yourself unstained by the world. Unstained by the world, meaning we're in the world, but we're not of the world. But see, we're not supposed to just go around, being obnoxious, wearing tattered clothes and big signs that say, I am a Christian, I don't look like you. It's dumb. I like nice pajamas and comfortable clothes, and I like good makeup, and all the things. This isn't about that. This is about the heart, the tongue, the mind. How are you treating people? How are you speaking to people? What are you doing in your life that makes you look different than the ugly, comparing, one-upping, keeping up with the Joneses, slashing your, knees out from underneath you and talking about you behind your back, manipulating world? What makes you look different? If you go through your life and no one can tell that you're different, and no one can tell that people should know that you're different because you love people and you act like a light in the world. You know what I'm saying? So don't let the world stain you. If you're, for instance, you're out somewhere and people are cursing and using the F word and you sound just like them. If you're at a party drinking and getting high and then going to church on Sunday. Did you wake up on New Year's with a hangover? Listen, I'm not saying I haven't been there in my past. I'm saying you should strive to look different than the world. Not to judge people, but to be an example of hope and a safe place for people to find love so that you can point them to the source of that. That's what I'm saying. Now, lastly, I put here, being a doer of the world, being a doer in the world, we think that people go, we're supposed to go to the farthest reaches of the world or something. And, listen, I don't have any drive or desire to get on a plane and go preach the gospel in Tibet or something. I'm not putting that down. I'm saying it's not a call on my life. But what I am saying is, what you can do in your world where God has you, you can do something. It can look like you have a little bit of extra money and you buy someone's groceries. It can look like, there's a widow that lives in your neighborhood and you bring her dinner. You don't need to ask for permission, like, can I do something for you? No, you can. I'm giving you permission. Yes, you can. Just go do it. It means maybe there's a single mother that you know of whose children are struggling. Just go find out the needs, and then you can just do something. You can just make dinner. Maybe you're not a cook. Go buy dinner for someone. Like, whatever it is, you can do things in your world that show that you're a doer of the word, right? You don't just have to hear what God says and think, well, I don't have some big ministry like Tim Tebow, or I don't have, a call on my life. I don't want to go preach in Russia. Well, okay, well, God's not calling you to do that. And if he is, you're going to love it, be excited about it, have dreams about it, right? So calm down. You don't have to be called to do that. But you can do in your own world. Are you kind? Are you listening? Are you gentle with people? Are you seeing a need and then just doing something about it? You can be a doer of the word. And it should, if you have been changed by Christ, you should be compelled to want to do that. That's what it's talking about. And also the verse, trials. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its perfect result, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Oh, that's the verse today, but I don't like trials. But you know what I think is interesting though? It talks about trials, but then one of the ways that they say that you can get through struggles and get through trials and get through things, like if you're depressed or if you're whatever going through something, is to do something for someone else. And I think it's interesting that James 1 starts out with talking about trials and be considering it joy and all the things. And then it ends the chapter with talking about being a doer of the word, because honestly, one of the best ways to get through trials is to be a doer of the word, to help widows and orphans and help somebody else, and to be on the lookout to help serve other people, because then the focus gets off of you and the trials that you're going through and it gets on to somebody else. And man, nothing squashes, the tricks of the enemy more than walking in the path of Jesus and loving other people and doing things for other people, because the enemy wants you to be all self-focused about me, and how depressed and how this and that. But when you change that focus and you start going, okay, Lord, you know what? You are in control, and these are the things I'm going through, but God, here's what I do know. I'm going to give to this, and I'm going to help this, or I'm going to whatever it is. Those are the things that remove the power of the enemy. You know what I mean? Just noticed you can see my little light in the background. I wonder if I can. There's nothing I can do about it. Let's see. It doesn't matter. Now you've seen it. I have to end my video now, because now I'm just distracting you. Look, I am weak and I have a cold. And so my brain is sort of all over the place. I love you guys like a crazy person. And I hope you had a good new year. And I do. If you make resolutions and stuff, then good on you. I'm glad for you. I hope that you do well with your resolutions and all that stuff. If you don't, if you just are trying to make changes this year, I hope that you do it. And I hope that I do too. But the most important thing that you can do for yourself is to make a commitment to just seek God every day, because trials are going to come. Things are going to go up and down. That is life. But you have got to have an anchor for your soul. You have got to have peace that passes understanding. You've got to have something that holds you and wraps you and grounds you to real truth, like real peace, real truth, real purpose, real freedom. Because one day God's going to call your number, and you've got to have something that's an anchor for your soul. And it's God. It's Jesus, his son, Jesus Christ. I mean, no one gets to the Father but through Jesus, period. You need an anchor for yourself, so that when the winds blow and the trials blow, you don't feel tossed about and just all over the place. Something that will hold you steady. Maybe you make a commitment to just do that every day and then see what the Lord will do. All right, I gotta go. I've got stuff to do. I hope you have a wonderful week and a good new year, and I love you, and I mean it, Peanut. Mwah.